I call this regular meeting to order at 6:45 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Ding. It's myself. All right, please stand and face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Ding,
Here.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Here.
Councilmember Menchaca,
Here.
Councilmember Rivera,
Here.
Councilmember Wu.
Here.
Closing section report. Our city attorney will now give the closing session report from the special meeting held early tonight.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Tonight, the council considered one item on the closed session agenda, and that was labor negotiations, and no reportable actions were taken. Also, we need to report out on August 2nd at a special meeting. Council also met in closed session on the same item, and no reportable actions were taken at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have some announcement from our city chief city clerk.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and our online platforms. If you wish to address the City Council during tonight's meeting, we request that you please complete a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. When speaking, please state your name for the record. If you wish to be added to the distribution list to receive City Council agendas, please email your request to cityclerk@sgch.org.
Approval of agenda order. Are there any objection to the agenda order? I hear none. The agenda order is approved. Next item, please.
Presentation A, Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District presentation about emergency conservation initiatives and drought conditions. General Manager Tom Love of the Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District will make the presentation.
Well, as that presentation is coming up, let me first introduce, I'm sure most of you already know him, I think you all do, Director Charles Trevino, representing Division 2. We have 5 divisions of our board, and Division 2 encompasses the city of San Gabriel. So, Director Trevino.
Thank you, Tom. Good evening, Mayor Ding, members of the council. I'm Charles Trevino. A lot of you know me, and I proudly represent the city of San Gabriel as a director on the Upper San Gabriel board. As many of you are familiar, Upper District is the regional water wholesaler for 26 water retailers in 18 cities, serving about 1 million people, close to 1 million people. Our primary responsibility is to deliver replenishment water from the State Water Project through connections with the Metropolitan Water District. We heavily rely on this water to maintain the sustainability of our groundwater basin. The state is currently in its 3rd year of a very, very serious drought. The severity of this drought has required the state, metropolitan, and upper district to take bold emergency action to maximize our limited water supplies and growing limited as we speak. So Tom will talk a little bit more about that. Upper district has asked our residents to cut their water use by 20% and reduce outdoor watering to 2 days a week. However, we are not asking them to do this alone. We are committed to working with our cities and water retailers in providing resources and educating our residents on rebates and programs available to help save water. And that is our primary purpose here, is to inform you. Tom Love, our general manager, will provide you with the current state of our local water supply, conditions, and Upper District's drought response. Tom?
Thank you, Director Trevino. So I'm going to start by explaining a little more detail. Why is this drought so much more serious and challenging than anything else we faced before? I'm going to talk about actions that have been taken at the state level, at the regional level by Metropolitan Water District, and here at the local level by Upper District and by your local water retailers. And then I'm going to go into to explain where does our local water come from and the actions we're taking and the path forward. So while it might sound like doom and gloom, we do have specific identified actions that are underway to help us get through this current crisis and prepare us for continuing drought, because we know that's what we're going to have with a changing climate here in Southern California and, in fact, the entire western United States. So, little background, we actually are fortunate that 80% of our water supply does come from local water. The facilities the county owns and operates, up San Gabriel Canyon, the 3 dams, and then the Santa Fe spreading grounds at the 605-210 interchange. Avoid the 210 right now because I understand there's some traffic delays. But you'll see those ponds, and sometimes they're full of water. That's water soaking into the aquifer, which is pumped out to meet our water supply needs. And so that stormwater capture system is really great at capturing stormwater when it rains. But if it doesn't rain, there's no water to capture. So it's been pretty limited over the last 20 years. But we do make up that those water supply needs, and what our local rainfall doesn't bring us, we historically have brought in from imported water. But as you'll hear, that imported water is also in very short supply. So we need to come up with management tools to work through this problem. So how bad is it? It's the 3rd year of drought in this current drought cycle. But to highlight how severe it is on the supplies from the State Water Project that brings water in from Northern California through the California Aqueduct. The last 3 years, the allocation, or the amount of water that DWR will deliver through that system is the lowest on record. In fact, over this 3-year cycle, the amount of water delivered to Metropolitan Water District is 600,000 acre-feet. Average is 3 million acre-feet. And in fact, that 600,000 acre-feet is 40% less than DWR's worst case forecast. So we are facing the worse than the worst case projection from DWR. And it's caused all of us to take really serious actions to get us through the situation. So that's the imported water supply picture. Here's our local groundwater. This is a picture of the elevation of what we call the key well. It's located in Baldwin Park, and it tells us the health of the groundwater basin underneath our feet. And you can see in wet years such as 2011, a lot of rainwater is captured and the basin fills up. And then we have those intervening cycles of very dry years when we use those stored supplies to meet our water supply needs. So back in 2017, and again more so in 2019 locally, we got a good slug of local water, but we also brought in a lot of imported water because it was available from the State Water Project, and we stored it in that groundwater basin. And you can see that by that light blue area. That light blue indicates the amount of imported water we brought in and stored in our basin, and that's helping meet our water supply needs today. But that key well is going down. It's currently at about 181 feet. The historic low was set in 2018 at 169 feet. And we are working with the main San Gabriel Basin Water Master, all of the groundwater pumpers, to manage that so that we keep that key well above that critically low level of 169 feet. So here's the state actions. The governor declared a statewide emergency, calling for 20 to 30% water use reduction. The State Water Board has issued, some of these are new, some of these are in existence previously, but some of the ones to highlight is certainly any wasteful water use is regulated or prohibited. And level 2 water supply contingency plan, Upper District initiated that a year ago this month, put that into effect. And then the ban on non-functional turf. So turf around commercial parks, buildings, in those medians. Right now, that is not permitted to have any irrigation on turf in those areas. Replace it with low water use plants, that's fine, but if it's turf that is not functional, that is not used to walk on or play soccer on, should not be irrigated at this time. MWD implemented drought actions, and because MWD has 2 sources of supply, I didn't talk about that earlier, from the Colorado River through the Colorado River Aqueduct and the State Water Project, they have a record amount of water stored in Lake Mead in their name. So they've got a lot of water on the Colorado River right now. Colorado River system, I'm sure you've heard, is not in great shape, but because Metropolitan has stored that water, they can continue to deliver that water unrestricted for the time being. But a certain part of Metropolitan service area cannot get full access to those stored supplies on the Colorado River. They can only get access to the State Water project supplies, which are very low. And so they've identified 6 of their member agencies, Upper District is one of those, that are living within a couple of paths to make sure we manage those water supplies. And those paths are, one, we could go to 1 day a week mandatory watering with enforcement, or if we have some local supplies and we can manage within a volumetric limit, then we can choose that path and then implement whatever water use restrictions we deem are necessary. And so Upper District's board selected that second path, where we will live within a volumetric limit of water supplied from Metropolitan this year, and we have asked all of our water producers and water retailers to implement outdoor water use restrictions. We've suggested 2 days per week. I know they do vary based on individual water retailers, but we've asked for 2 day a week. So I mentioned the Upper District Board action a year ago. We saw this coming. We didn't know how severe it was going to be or realize how severe it would get, but we started a year ago. And then in May, this is shortly after the Metropolitan Board took their action, Upper District did select that second path for compliance, asking for 2 day a week outdoor watering and 20% conservation. So that's our immediate actions. What can we do to reduce the pumping out of that groundwater basin? I showed you that chart with the blue shaded areas. We need to preserve those supplies as long as we can, and if we reduce our water consumption, then we're pumping less water out of the ground, and those supplies will last longer. But in the meantime, we are seeking regulatory approval to deliver Colorado River water to replenish the groundwater basin. The infrastructure is already there, but because the Colorado River water has an invasive species, a quagga mussel, we've been working with County Public Works and have a quagga mussel mitigation plan that, as we speak, is being submitted to Fish and Wildlife for that regulatory approval. So with that approval, we will have that tool in our belt that we will be able to deliver Colorado River water for replenishing that groundwater basin and keep that key well above 169 feet. We've obviously increased our community outreach on conservation. There's banners, there's signs. I'll show us some of them to you a little later. They are available to you. They are available to your water retailers to use in their whether it's a bill stuffer, bus stop ads, wherever it is. Those materials are available to help us communicate with the water customers about the need for conservation. And then the second bullet down is Metropolitan's Pure Water Southern California. We previously have called that the Regional Recycled Water Project, and even a couple of years ago we called it the Carson Recycled Water Project. It will be the largest recycled water project in the country when it's implemented. The main treatment plant is located at the Joint Treatment Plant in Carson, the LA County Sanitation District plant. And when constructed, about 10 years from now, it will supply enough recycled water to replenish the main San Gabriel groundwater basin and eliminate our need for water from the State Water Project. And that'll be a huge accomplishment when it occurs. So we gotta get through the next 10 years, and we gotta continue our conservation efforts. And when we do have extra water on the State Water Project, or if we can get this Colorado River water delivered, we're working with Met to expand how much of that water we store in a wet year. So in these intervening dry years, and then we're gonna have some wet years, I can't tell you when or how wet they will be, but when there's extra water, we gotta get it stored in the ground in our aquifer beneath our feet. So here's what we've got to help our communities with this conservation. We've got a lot of advertising out there. You can see some of the banners there. We're just trying to get people, it's a preemptive thank you to just get people's attention and guide them to the resources that they can use to help conserve water. We have a producer city toolkit with these ads, talking points, and then there are MWD rebates for water conservation devices, and those can be found at MWD's conservation website, bewaterwise.com. So we've got a new water conservation home kit. It's got water use devices that people can install in their homes. It's currently targeting disadvantaged communities, but we're applying for some federal funds so we can span that to the entire service area. We do have our Waterfest scheduled for October 15th. I encourage you to attend. It's a lot of fun, but it's also educational at Arcadia County Park. We have been reaching out to participate in outreach booths at community events. We've made an inquiry to the city staff, awaiting a response as to opportunities for us to participate. Certainly, if there's speaking opportunities with service clubs, et cetera, we want to get out there and do that. And then, of course, we have our landscaping classes, which are online now, so we get more participation, and those are available to all residents. So with that, I think I covered a lot of material fairly quickly. I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide any other information.
Thank you.
No questions? But I want us to keep in mind when Tom showed that graph on the key well, and he showed the dark blue line and then the other line on top of that. The only reason we're not at these historic lows in the key well is because of that water that we purchased. So I always tell people when I talk to them, that dark blue line is the actual key well elevation. So if it wasn't for that water that we had purchased from Med, that cyclic storage water, we would be in very dire straits. And so I don't think, every year we always go through this, or every 2 years, 3 years, about a drought. But I don't think that it's ever been this serious, and all the time that I've been involved in water. I'm happy that the governor is now looking at desalination. I'm happy that we're looking at out of the box thinking. We are a state that always thinks big. That's why we built the state water project. That's why we have the tunnel project, the proposed tunnel project. So I really believe we can meet this challenge, but it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us working together and really meeting this thing head on and looking at the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Public comment. This is the time set aside for members of the public to address the City Council on items of interest that are not on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the San Gabriel City Council. If you wish to address the Council, please fill out a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. Our first comment this evening comes from Dr. Chastity Jennings Nunez, obstetrician gynecologist and Los Angeles Section Vice Chair for the American College of OBGYN, and reads as follows. To the members of the City Council, on Saturday, July 16th, at least 100 community members demonstrated their commitment to protecting autonomous reproductive decisions in California. Teens, young adults, women who were teens when Roe v. Wade was originally decided, men, community, religious, and political leaders marched from Alhambra to San Gabriel as a very visible and vocal reminder that California will remain a state where people continue to have access to legal and safe contraception and abortion care services. Sadly, in half of U.S. states, laws have been put in place that are causing mental and physical harm to girls and women and threaten doctors with prosecution if they fulfill their role to provide evidence-based, necessary medical care to all. Medical decision-making is a shared process between an individual and their doctor, and laws and bans that compromise and limit that care, specifically targeted at women and people who can become pregnant, have no place in our society. Several City Council members from San Gabriel and Alhambra joined in support, marched from Alhambra City Hall, and spoke at the rally in front of the Mission Playhouse Saturday. Women in San Gabriel need to know that they live in a city where their rights are protected. Women in the San Gabriel Valley, LA County, and from outside of California need to know that they are welcome in San Gabriel to access services that they might not have access to in their community, either because it has been made illegal or because healthcare resources are limited. San Gabriel should proclaim itself a reproductive freedom city, recognizing and declaring that all who live, work, and visit here have a constitutional right to privacy and statutory, soon to be constitutional right to choose. Guaranteeing that every person has control over their bodies when it comes to medical decision making and regarding the most intimate choices in their lives, like the use of contraception, the desire to continue a pregnancy, and who they love and marry, is fundamental in California. San Gabriel City should follow other California cities and the state in making this public commitment to be the inclusive and inviting city that it proclaims to be in our strategic plan. That concludes the comment, and our first speaker this evening is Stanley Lamb.
I the single mission Fiesta and walk to LA. On this year they losing money because they are not enough volunteer. If I walk to LA is past April already until next year. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Debbie Kilgore.
Hello, everybody. I enjoyed my time I spent with you, by the way, last weekend. It was very informative, the strategic planning council meeting that you guys held. And anybody that didn't go, you missed a lot about what it takes to run this city. I am still shocked and surprised of everything. So I'm glad it was open to us residents, and I really did enjoy going. I now have two questions. One of them was, there was mention of the new parking ticket meters, you know, so you can get a permit to park in the city when, you know, if you're overnight and you don't have a sticker. So I was just curious where they're going to be, because there's 2 of them right now, and there's 3 of them new machines coming. So that was one. And the other, we just had a speaker from one of the water departments. We have 5 different water companies in this city, and we haven't heard from anybody at what they're doing. And we're only 4 square miles. Why do we have 5 different water companies? But I wish they would come forward and say, this is what's going on. I'm single, I live by myself, and I don't know how to really decrease water usage in my household because of the situation. But I'd like to hear what the other water companies have to say about their preserving water and what they're doing for our city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be happy to answer that question that she asked about where the parking locations are going to go, because it is on our agenda. It's one of our consent calendar items. So we'll be purchasing 3 of the new parking machines. 2 will replace existing ones. One of them across this, in front of our recreation center, which is just up the street from the Mission Playhouse. The other will be in front of our police department. And then the new meter will be down at our Marshall Park satellite station, which is down at Marshall Park, where our traffic department currently resides.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Thank you, Mark.
Our next speaker is Eric Chan.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to step up and express my appreciation that General Manager Love and Director Trevino came to speak in front of everyone. And just to remind you that I am currently an elected director to San Gabriel County Water District, which is one of their kind of member agencies, where our agency is the local retailer, and the Upper District is our wholesaler. And just as a small answer to Ms. Kilgore's question about why there are 5 different retail water districts in our area, it's just that that's the way it has always been. The system was created by lawyers and judges and politicians about 100 years ago. So that's just the system we use. And I wanted to also remind everyone, the council and the public, that as an elected member of our one of our water districts, I'm always available if you have any questions about what our particular district is doing, and how everyone can conserve and save some water. And please feel free to contact me, Eric Chan from San Gabriel County Water District Board. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to address council?
Okay. Next item, please.
Consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine, and recommendations will be approved in one motion unless a member of the City Council or public requests separate discussion. We have not received requests from the public to pull any items. Staff has requested that item J, Valley Boulevard and Delmar Avenue Intersection Improvements Project, be pulled for separate consideration and opportunity for public comment. Metro's project manager, Lourdes Christe, is available to introduce this item and answer any questions should council desire.
Okay. Would any council member like to another item from separate discussion? So only item J is pull out, right?
So I'll move to approve all consent items except for J.
I'll second. Okay, the motion made by council member Menchaga and the second by Vice Mayor Harrington. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
And so regarding that, so next item will be item J, right? Okay.
So Mayor, thank you for pulling this item. We do have a representative from Metro. This is a project at Del Mar and Valley that's actually the intersection improvements. And we had to pull that item for a separate discussion just because of CEQA laws and the way to have public comment.
Okay.
So I think Ms. Christe is ready to give us just a brief presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a brief oral overview of the project. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The item before you is the environmental document for the Valley Boulevard and Del Mar Avenue intersection improvement project. This project is funded by Measure R money. If you recall, the SR 710 North Corridor Mobility Improvements Program. That's where the Measure R funding is going through. It's coming to council for your consideration at a later date once it completes design. So today we just asked you to take action on the underlying environmental document. The city's environmental consultant is GPA. The initial study was conducted and resulted in the preparation of the mitigated negative declaration. The environmental document was out for public review for 32 days and is now ready for adoption by council. We received only one public comment from Caltrans. It was their boilerplate template letter, and they just requested us to consider vehicle miles traveled, which this project did, and the analysis is included in the environmental document report. The environmental document was available at the public library. It was available online on the city's website, and a public notice was published in the newspaper, and residents within 500 feet and businesses received a notice of availability to comment as well. So the reason why it's a mitigated negative declaration is because the hazardous waste site, it's historical recognized environmental concerns. All historical cleanup for the hazardous waste has been conducted by previous cases. It's just listed as a wreck, so we have to include additional mitigation measures for treating the hazardous waste during construction.
Okay. Discussion? Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Next, is there any the public comments? No. So who will make a motion? You want me? I make a motion. Who second?
I second.
Pardon me? Approve it, right? Yeah. Approve the mitigation. Approve. Okay. And the motion made by Mayor Ding and second by Councilmember Rivera. So, next, vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Yeah. All right. That's sorry. That's a little bit. Okay. Next item, please.
We have no public hearings or continued business this evening. Our next item is new business item A. Resolution number 22-50, approving temporary closure of Commercial Avenue on September 11th, 2022, a temporary use permit for the Stunts and Fun event and authorizing city support for the event. Economic Development Manager Caroline Velarde will make the presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. For your consideration this evening is a resolution approving a temporary closure of Commercial Avenue on September 11th, 2022 for the Stunt and Fun event, a temporary use permit, and authorization of city support of the event. Stunt and Fun is a private event being organized by Mr. Sammy Maloof of Maloof Racing on behalf of the Stuntman's Association. It is free and open to the public and will be held on Sunday, September 11, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Commercial Avenue. The goal of the event is to raise funds to help those in need due to COVID-19. The applicant has submitted the necessary documents as part of the city's TUP process, including the event map, which is attached to this report that you have and presented on the screen. As you can see, the event spans the entire block of Commercial Avenue. Staff has provided the applicant a list of conditions that must be met should the TUP be approved. In addition to the TUP and street closure, the applicant is also requesting the event be a city-supported event in the form of the city providing staff support. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt Resolution 22-50, approving the temporary closure of Commercial Avenue between Gladys and the Rubio Wash on the event date and time, a TUP for the event, and authorizing city support. As an alternative to the staff recommendation, other options for council to consider are: 1, decide that the event is a private event instead of a city-sponsored event and require the applicant pay for staff time and expenses; or 2, decide that the street closure event is not in the best interest of the city and deny the applicant's request to hold the event. That concludes my report. At this time, I would like to call the applicant to the podium so that we may answer any questions that you may have regarding this item.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, Chief, and the rest of the people here today, I'm Sammy Maloof. And I would like to say, first of all, thank you so much for almost 40 years in our city. And you guys have always been in my corner, and I appreciate you all. So this event, you guys know I'm a Hollywood stuntman. I build race cars. I've had my race car shop. In fact, my family's had their businesses collectively for, it'll be almost 150 years in our city. So this event is not just going to benefit the Stuntmen's Association. It's going to benefit the city of San Gabriel. And we do have a list of the businesses, as well as our police department, fire department, the K-9 units, as well as La Casa and some other businesses that got hit really hard a few years ago, which, if you remember, we were going to put this event on last year and it got bumped. So we do want to give out to the people in our city, and as well as our officials. They've been in my corner for 40 years. So this is a way that we can help generate funds and give to our city, especially with our fire department. I know that we need a lot of stuff in our city, and this is one way we can generate enough funds to give it back. Every single one of our event players, our performers, we're all professional stuntmen. We know our business, we know our industry, we know what we're doing, and we do it very accurately and very safe. And we don't work on just little things. We work on all major motion pictures, music videos, reality shows, and all of our stuff is, like I said, to be a good stuntman, you have to repeat the stunt, and it's got to be accurately done without flaws, and it's always safety first with us. So if there's any questions, we're here to answer them.
Hi, Mr. Maloof. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. So when you say that you're going to collect funds, are you charging for people to be vendors on the, or how is the money going to come
Well,
in?
we are going to have vendors on our street, and we're going to have people that do rent a booth, and whatever they want to display, they're welcome to display, and we will do that. But we also have donations that are coming in from all over, and people from their sites are supporting this event. So if it goes through, I believe it'll be a big successful event, if we can get it passed through. It's a free event. There's no charge to the city.
For the city.
I think she's, or the public at all.
the public.
She did say that up front.
So my next question is to Mark. For the safety and insurance purposes, you know, 'cause God forbid somebody gets hurt. You know, are they gonna wanna come back and sue the city, or is that something that if we make it a city event, or how does that work? What are the you know?
I would defer to the city attorney for that question, but I think with anything that we have our name on, or even if it's in the city, without us having our name on, we're always at risk of being sued as part of any lawsuit.
What would that entail?
Councilmember Rivera, there will be insurance and indemnity requirements that are attached to the permit if the council chooses to grant the temporary use permit. So the applicant would have to show sufficient insurance and coverage, naming the city as an additional insured on any policies.
Like an umbrella policy type of thing?
No, just general liability policies, and whatever other coverages, workers' comp, which usually doesn't name the city, but it has to be shown that it's there. So basically, additional layer of protection for the city in the event something that would occur. But I concur with the city manager. We will always be a entity that people will look to if, in the event something was to happen within our boundaries.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mayor Ding. Well, thank you, Mr. Meloff, for organizing fundraising on September 11th. My question is, how many fire staff and police may require for supporting your event? And the next question to Mark, our manager, Mazzarato, is about the financial impact, if there is any, to, as a city to sponsor this event. What is the financial impact number? Thank you.
I didn't understand that.
Well, for this event, so you are asking for a city to sponsor not only the TU, the temporary use permit, but also the police the staff from police station, fire station. What is the personnel? How many people that will be required to guarantee to protect the whole event during your from 10 to 5?
Hopefully our police department is going to show up, and we'll have a booth for them as well. But as far as, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janine Ferdinand. I'm Sammy Malou's assistant, and we have talked extensively to Fire Chief Wallace. We have a volunteer staff of over 25 and growing. Caroline, did you want to? And you have okay, you were going to say that, the volunteer staff, yes.
Okay. Then you want me to bring this over here?
Oh,
okay. So we do have that, and our police department, we've invited our police department to show up and be part of it, as well as the canines. So I think that we'll have enough. Plus, we have our Stuntmen's Association. We do have people that police the area as well, and for safety as well too. We watch and take care of everything. We have our own safety crew for each stunt. So it's not like we're just going out there and winging this.
Okay, so there is no fire trucks needed for this event? The fire engine? Do you need fire engines?
I think we're going to have a private fire department, a private fire truck, private ambulance. Yeah, private ambulance.
And a first aid tent.
Yeah, there'll be a first aid tent with a first aid person there.
And Councilman Wu, to answer your question about the impact to the city. So when we have people that come in and request events in the city, if it's an event like Dumplings and Beer that's coming up, that's a city-sponsored event, and so we provide all of the staffing for that at the city's cost, because that's an event that the city puts on. We've also had events like the health fairs that we put on at no cost, that we don't charge permit fees or anything like that, because that's a community benefit. For private events, we have a fee schedule that we would charge, and we would also charge for the staff time that's involved in that event. I think Caroline can answer what the fees would be if we charged Mr. Maloof and his family the fees for the event. But the staff time that we would be waiving if we don't require our own staff time to be recovered, that could be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for that day. But the actual permit fees that we're waiving, I think Caroline has that.
Yes, so there are two fees that would apply to this event, one being the TUP, that's at a $772 cost, and then the Public Works public right-of-way fee for commercial events, which is $538. The total in fees would be $1,310.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a cost and how much staff, how much it would cost in staff?
Right now, it would be just an estimate because we don't have full accounting of what that staff time will be. We usually get a deposit for those events, and then as we have staff that's needed for the event, we keep track of that, and then if the vendor uses less, we refund them. If we need more, then we would bill them for any extra time. So it's something that we settle up after an event like this, but we would give them an estimate up front.
And staff would include police and fire?
Police, fire, public works for setting up any street closure signs, the time for economic development to process permits, all of those fees have not started to be counted.
Yeah, we're asking for those to be waived. Okay.
Okay.
That's the option.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and read it?
So, okay. 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 Is there any public comments?
Yes, Mayor?
Before you guys, make your decision, can I just read the summary that we have written up for this event? Go ahead, Gene. Why don't you read that to me?
On September 11, 2022, the Stuntmen's Association of America are hosting a fundraiser event in San Gabriel, California called Stunts and Fun. Stuntsandfun.com is the website. We are honored to give back to the community of San Gabriel, the families and organizations who were hit hard the last several years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of these businesses continued to serve through these challenging times, but are struggling to remain open for their communities. At this event, we are also very proud to have the chance to honor our veterans, fire department, police department, and first responders. We have been experiencing one of the most challenging times in America, and our youth are having to face unprecedented isolation, division, and loneliness for the very first time. Suicide is now the 12th leading cause of death. Engaging in community relationship and interactions with our youth will give them much needed hope. This event is a behind-the-scenes Hollywood experience to watch our professional stuntmen and stuntwomen perform high falls, fire burns, movie fighting, car fights, car driving on two wheels, and motorcycles racing inside a safe cage globe, and a chance to do something like never before. Take a ride in a real Hollywood stunt car. Our youth will also have an opportunity to meet and speak with the stuntmen and stuntwomen behind their favorite movies, such as Batman, Ant-Man, Wonder Woman, Fast and Furious, Terminator, etc. Sammy Maloof, Hollywood stuntman, speaker, and longtime San Gabriel business owner, and his daughters, stars of Netflix original new series Drive Hard the Maloof Way, premiering in 10 days, August 26, 2022, will be special guests at this event for a meet and greet. Netflix, by the way, reaches over 128 million subscribers worldwide, and it's right here in the city of San Gabriel. Sammy and his team have put on numerous successful outreach events for over the past 20 years, making a positive impact in communities across the country, and are thankful that they've had the resources to give much needed help to single parents, such as myself, the Los Angeles homeless community, and numerous youth through their outreach. Your sponsorship donations will not include some of the following, but not all of them. Not just these organizations. Raise money for local businesses negatively affected the last 2 years, including La Casa de San Gabriel, who have been consistently providing food, clothing, education, and resources to numerous families in the San Gabriel Valley for over 75 years. Raise money for the Stuntmen's Association so they can purchase a more affordable building. Raise money for and honor our local first responders, veterans, fire department, police department. Our department does not have their own fire truck, it's to our understanding, and the ones they do use don't have a ladder, which won't allow them to reach the second floor should a fire break out. Our police officers need funding to train their new cadets, and they are carrying guns that are over 30 years old. They need Gen 5 guns to properly assist them to protect and serve our community efficiently. Raise money for the San Gabriel Valley Humane Society Animal Shelter, providing temporary shelter, nourishment, and medical care for the animals currently in need of a forever home. For over 100 years, they've had their facility, and it is in dire need of major renovation and refurbishment. Raise funds for the San Gabriel Police Canine Unit, who currently have only 2 canines. They need more dogs and medical assistance for them, as their dogs have no medical insurance. With the growing influx of fentanyl coming into the country, funds raised will provide much needed training, health care, health insurance, safety equipment for both the service dog and their police handlers, veterinary care, hospitalization, funeral costs, burial costs for both active and retired service canines. With your help and support, and the support of our city, we will be able to positively impact our community and many others. This is an amazing opportunity, and we are very thankful for everyone who supports and contributes.
You know, I could say I put so many events on across the United States, from here to Texas, multiple events, and not one of them ever was unsuccessful. Everybody has prospered through the whole event. Every time we do a stunt show, there's never been a hiccup in any of it, and we don't plan to have any hiccups, because number one, we always plan ahead of time, and we always get the performers that we want that perform with us accurately every single time. It's a no-nonsense deal, and everybody benefits. You know, we've got multiple ways, multiple streams of income that we get, that they bring to us through different ways of generating the funds. And I'm telling you, if we can get your blessing through it, it would be a good event, and it would really benefit our city. I know it would.
Thank you. Sam. Okay. So right now, the next step. Okay. Previous is the staff, the council member, to clarify the report, right? And then right now it's council deliberation and public comment. Sorry. Okay, Chief City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We do, Mayor. Our first comment is from Chastity Jennings Nunez and reads as follows. To the members of the City Council and City Manager, Resolution 22-50 has 2 parts: approval of a street closure for a public event sponsored by a private business, and a request for the city to be a co-sponsor and provide staff report. The event description markets a great event that intends to raise funds for families and children in COVID recovery programs. It is sponsored by the Stuntsmen Association of Motion Pictures. There is no information in the event description that this organization is a nonprofit, or a listing of the specific COVID programs or what percentage of the funds will be donated. Approval of the street closure would be perfectly appropriate and in keeping with prior actions of the city. It would not be appropriate or in keeping with past precedent for the city to take on the expense, responsibility, and possible liability of being a co-sponsor and providing free staff and other support. The city partners with the Kiwanis for the pancake breakfast and Easter egg hunt, but they do not provide staff for the pancake breakfast fundraising portion of the event. I hope that the City Council does not agree to co-sponsor a private event hosted by a private business that doesn't even have a 501c3 status entity. This is not a comment on the value of the event, but a recognition that the city should maintain appropriate boundaries, even if the council members individually decide to support the event with their attendance or donation. That concludes the comment, Mayor. Do we have anyone else wishing to address council on this matter?
We're not asking them to staff.
Okay. Thank you.
But wait a minute.
It's now time for council deliberation and a discussion. Who will be starting?
Okay, hold on a minute. We have our insurance. The Summits Association has insurance. But the thing about it, whoever that person is, they must have a problem with the city.
Council member. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to benefit from this. Don't forget, we're going to take and it's not
I have a few.
He's alone.